Hello everyone, welcome to Indian Techies. Today our topic is about structure of a C program. Right? Now, how to write the structure of a C program using the rules of Dennis Ritchie. Dennis Ritchie is the developer of C program. Okay, he has developed the structure to everyone. Like everyone, those who want to write a program using C, they have to follow this structure only. These are the sections that Dennis Ritchie has mentioned. Coming to the first one, documentation section. Second one, link section. Third one, definition section. Fourth one, global declaration section. Next, main function. Inside the main function, you will be having local declaration, executable statements, and once the main has been completed, you will be having the last one, that is called as user defined functions. Right? Now, we will discuss about each and every section in detail. Remember one point, whatever all the sections I have mentioned here are not compulsory. Check here. I am keeping tick for link section, tick for main section, and a tick for executable statements. The ticked sections are mandatory. The unticked sections means where I did not keep tick like documentation, definition, global, local, and user defined function. These sections are optional. What do you mean by optional? Based upon your programming situation, a user can decide which should be added, which should not be added. But when you come to link, main, and executable parts, these three sections are compulsory and it is mandatory to execute a program successfully. Now, let's discuss about each and every section in detail. Coming to the first one, that is documentation section. So, what do you mean by documentation section? What we write in the documentation section? We write some lines. These lines are called as comment lines. Next, what do you mean by comment lines? Suppose you have written a program by yourself. It has been executed, you got the output. But after few days, if you open the same program, you will not have an idea immediately what is that program is for. Instead of that, if you write any explanation about that program, then what will happen? By seeing that program, by seeing that explanation, you will understand easily what is this program actually. Next, these lines are not executed by compiler because these are the explanations lines that you have written for yourself and for others, those who reads this program, those who go through this program. For that purpose, comment lines that we write in the program has to be ignored by the compiler because we write whatever the text that we are suitable, that we are expecting, that we want to explain to others. That's why these programming lines, these comment lines are ignored by the compiler. Then the next question is, how does you tell the compiler that these lines are comment lines? These lines are not the part of a program. These are the lines which has been written for your understandability only. Suppose if you are having only one line of explanation, write two forward slashes. Remember, slashes forward, not backward. Write two forward slashes. Write whatever the explanation that you want. If you are having one line of explanation. No sir, I am having two lines of explanation. No problem. You go to the next line, again you start the next line with two forward slashes and write whatever the explanation you want. It may be continuation of this previous line or it may be a new explanation, whatever it may be. But every line that you are going to write it as a comment should be prefixed with two forward slashes. Like that, how many lines you are having, you can write that many lines, but every line should be prefixed with two forward slashes. Then we will be having another doubt like, sir, suppose I am having 10 lines of explanation. Then how do I write? Do I need to write every time two forward slashes for the starting of every line? No. You are having one more option. Like you can start with star slash star, forward slash only, star symbol will be used, and write whatever the explanation, how many lines you want, you can write that many lines. There is no restriction. But only one condition is, whenever you are writing multiple comment lines which start with the slash star, you must and should end with star slash. Slash star, its reverse is star slash. Okay, then whenever compiler identifies slash star, it starts skipping the lines until it finds star slash in reverse order. Okay, but when you go here, whenever compiler identifies two forward slashes, it just skips that line and jumps to the next line. Again it is finding two forward slashes, again it will skip that line again. So this is single line comments, this is multiple line comments. When you are using this documentation section, is not necessary to write only at the starting of the program. You can write it anywhere of the program, but not between the programming lines. Once the programming lines has been ended, a single instruction has been completed, at the end of that one you can write your documentation section by using this one or this one. Remember, this is an optional field which is written for general user understandable perspective only. These lines are not checked by the compiler, right? This is documentation section. This is the first section which is very optional. If you want to write, you can write, otherwise you no need to write, right? Let us come to the second section, that is called as link section. In the previous class, I have told you that you can visit my channel where you will be having previous class. In that class, I have told you that we will use compiler to find whether there are any errors in our program or not. And I have also mentioned one more point, that compiler is just a mediator which will compare the rules of Ritchie and the rules that we have written in our program. Now, compiler does not have rules in default. So, if it has to be compared with the program that I have written, I mean user, and with the rules of the Ritchie, then this link section helps us. Right? How? We will start with hash include within these brackets stdio.h. This is less than and greater than symbol. Now, this hash we generally call it as a normal hash, but its representation, its terminology is preprocessor, or you can also call it as pound. Okay, Ritchie calls it as a preprocessor. Forozan, another greatest author, calls it as a pound. Whatever it may be, no problem. Now, hash include stdio.h. stdio stands for standard input output dot h stands for header file. So this has to be included. Why it has to be included? Because whenever we write this header file in the program, all the basic input output operations, if you want to write a small basic program, then the basic rules and regulations has been mentioned in this file. These files, stdio.h is also called as a library file, right? So whenever you write this line here, then the rules and regulations will be loaded into the program. Then compiler will have the ability to compare the rules that is mentioned in stdio.h and basic program that we write in the program. If this comparison has to be done, library files has to be added. This line is compulsory. That's why we call it as link section. We are linking this library file to our program. Okay, this is compulsory. As I kept a tick mark in the link section, this is compulsory. Right? This is not only the file we are having in C library, we are having multiple number of header files. Right? Like hash include math.h, hash include string.h, hash include c type.h. So that's about the link section, which is a compulsory field. Right? Now Next section would be about definition section. Definition section also starts with hash symbol and another word called as define. Hash define. Generally we use definition section to create defined constants in our program. So what do you mean by defined constant? A constant whose value is fixed throughout the program, where it cannot be changed, it cannot be modified, it cannot be taken as an input, it cannot be even printed. You can just use that value only for calculation. If you want to create such type of defined constant throughout the program in common, we use hash defined section. Right? Now, for example, if you consider in a program, you are having a pi value. Suppose if I want to calculate a area of a circle. If you want to calculate area of a circle, what would be the formula? Pi r square. Everybody knows. What is the value of pi? It's 3.14, or so some people say like it is a 22/7. Pi into r square is the value of the area of a circle. Now, if you want to use that pi symbol directly, if you can observe, you will not have pi symbol in your keyboard, right? But sir, you may ask me a question like that, why to use pi symbol? You can directly use the value called as 3.14 or 22/7. In a program, suddenly if you see pi value, I mean 3.14, then you will not get, or you will not be struck, you will not have that instinct to feel that it is a value of pi. That's why we can keep our own name. Now, we can keep our own name means we can write like this: hash define, give one space, write the name that you want to give, that is pi. Instead of what you want to give pi, you give the space, again write 3.14. Right? Now, whenever I write this line like this, then what happens is, wherever you want to use 3.14 in the program, I mean exactly for pi value, you can use the word called as pi. Then what does the compiler do? Whenever it identifies pi, then it will be calculated with 3.14. Next, you no need to change the pi value, you no need to print the pi value, you no need to modify or add or subtract for this pi value, because pi value is constant, universal constant, it cannot be modified. That's why we keep it like a hash defined statement. Hash defined pi 3.14. In a single line, you can create only one defined constant. If you want to create another constant, in the second line again you have to write hash defined pi another value. So hash define, what is the new name you want to keep, what is the original value that will be replaced with new name. Such type of constants if you want to create in your program, then you can use hash define section. Right? This is about the third section. Next, the next topic is global declaration. Global declaration means a value which can be accessed throughout the program. A value which can be accessed throughout the program. A value which is accessible throughout the program, which becomes active throughout the program, is called as a global access. Right? If you write any values before this main, that may be a normal calculations, that may be integers, that may be normal characters, fraction values, any values, if you write before main, we will have this declaration and in detail data types in next upcoming classes. So if you write anything before main, the meaning is those values are accessible throughout the program anywhere. That is the meaning of global. See, global means world, general meaning is world. But for C, the programming is the world. So throughout this program, you can use anywhere. That is the meaning of global declaration. This is also optional. Generally, we use global declaration whenever we are having the concept of user defined functions. If you don't have user defined function, there is no necessity of using global declaration. We use global declaration mostly when we are having many number of user defined functions. That is about global declaration. These are the four parts. Now, let us come to the main and important point, that is main function. Remember one thing, always the execution of the program does not start from documentation section. Remember, even though it is the first section, the execution of the program always starts from main. Remember that point. Then, why these all are steps? Why these all steps necessary? Why we can't write main? These are all the basic arrangements that are required to our program before we start our program. Because consider area of a circle, if you want to do calculation, you do inside the main. But if you want to do this calculation inside the main, you need pi value. So that pi value has been created before the main. So this is the basic, these four sections are basic setup which helps and executes your program inside the main. For example, let us come to some silly example like real-time example. Suppose you want to watch a movie. Okay, your mind has fixed to watch a movie, right? Now, if you want to watch a movie, will you go directly to theater and sit inside? No, there are some pre-plans will be there. Like you have to purchase a ticket, you have to do travel, you have to go by bike or whatever it may be. First of all, you must have some money, you must have petrol in your bike, and there is no option like you will get tickets or not. So first you will have to arrange all these basic things, get the ticket, go inside, sit into your chair, then watch some trailers, then your movie will start. But before you start seeing that movie, you have to do these all basic steps. In the same way, main is like watching the movie. But if you want to watch the movie, you must have some basic steps. You have to follow these all things, then only you can watch the movie. So, I finally say that main function, the word main is predefined, but the lines inside the main is user defined. Means the lines inside the main are written by the user. That's why some people say that main is predefined, some people say that main is user defined. But my way of explanation is the word main is predefined. The lines that you write inside the main are user defined. So main, this is the main function. So open and close bracket. Here initially we use only empty brackets for main. Now open flower brackets. Remember, flower brackets open, flower brackets close. The gap between open and close brackets is called as the block. I repeat, it is called as block, B-L-O-C-K. Right? This open and close brackets total together called as main or block. This totally is called as main block. Now, once you open the brackets, main block has been started. Inside this, what you are having? Local declaration. We have already seen global declaration. Global declaration means you can access everything throughout the program. But what about local declaration? Local declaration means if anything is accessible between open and close bracket only, then that is called as a local variables. Local accessing, locally active. A value which can be accessed within the open and close brackets within the block, then it can be called as a local. There will be only two type of access, local access and global access. Now global we have already discussed, now we are discussing about local. Now as I have not kept local, then it is an optional. If you have such type of access, you can declare, otherwise leave it. Next, the next one is within the main block only, executable statements. What do you mean by executable statement? There are many predefined functions under the link section, I mean stdao.h. Dennis Ritchie has created and mentioned some predefined functions. Those are also called as library functions. Some people who have already knowledge on C, they can recognize like printf, scanf, some functions are there. So in your program, you have to execute at least one of the predefined function. Suppose you are not writing any printing, you are not printing in the program, then what is the use of writing the program? Compulsorily at least one of the executable statement, predefined function which is mentioned under stdio.h has to be written. At least one function has to be called. That's why we kept as a tick mark, that is executable statements. This is mandatory. Then once it is done, you are closing the main block. Now main, the word is predefined. You cannot change the meaning of the main. You cannot change the word. Instead of writing main, you cannot write hi, hello, bye, or any other word that you want, or any of your name. Anything cannot be changed. All small letters main. But if you want to create your own function with your own name, with your own explanation, with your own logic, with your own calculation, with your own specialized output, with your own functionality, then you go for user defined function. The word itself you can understand. A function which is created by user is called as a user defined function. A function which is not mentioned by Dennis Ritchie, which is not in C library, and which you create is called as a user defined function. This is also optional, right? So this is all the structure of the C programming, right? Again I am telling you, these all parts are not mandatory. Only link, main and executable statements are mandatory. Remaining all the fields are optional. Anyone who want to write a program has to compulsorily follow this structure of the C program. Whatever the program you see, everybody follows this order only, this structure only. That's about structure of C programming. That's the concept of structure of a C programming, which is very important topic. Hope you liked it, you have understood clearly. Thank you for watching Indian Techies. I request you to like, comment, share, follow and also subscribe without fail for more updates on the C programming language. Thank you.